Yeah, obviously, talked about it a lot with, the friends and family back home. How cool is it to go to Omaha? How cool, when the SEC get to do all these things. It was super, super awesome. In the moment when it was happening, you don't really think about it all that much. But, after, being in the summer, getting back with all the guys, and, like you said, embarking in a new season, super excited that we got to do it. But like kind of Coach Minch alluded to this morning, it's not the end goal. Obviously we broke that door down and got there, but obviously the end goal is to win it. So excited for this new team and excited for what's to come.
You know how hard it is to get there. Can you imagine how hard it is to get back?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult thing. Obviously, bringing in a lot of new guys, but we've done a great job. Being one of the older guys, trying to enlist that culture, like Coach Minch said, into all the new guys. Just super excited about what's to come. Obviously, we've been there, so we know what it takes. Really just comes down to winning games. Whatever it takes. Coach Minch says, if it's a small ball day, or wind's blowing out of KPP and we're hitting a bunch of bombs. So just super excited about the new guys and the opportunity to get back there. So.
How do you not rush the process? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you not try and get to the end too quickly?
Yeah, just take it one game at a time. Like Coach Minch says, every win expires at midnight. It could be a day where you lose 10-0. Early in the year last year, there was a lot of doubt. After that Kennesaw State series, where to be completely honest, we got our butts kicked. And it was a great wake-up call. Coach Minch really got on us. Just continue to work hard. The first couple weeks didn't really matter. If you start 10-0 or you start 0-10, the SEC is a really hard schedule. So just preparing ourselves every day and just enjoying every minute of it.
So the balance, like how we got last year, but having so many new guys
Yeah, I think definitely, just having that experience, for say, I'm not the leader that's going to run around and tell everyone what to do. That's Devin Burks, 100%. He's the biggest voice of the team, but, just trying to be that guy for questions. That's the number one thing. Just, what do I do with this? How do I do that? Just trying to be there for him. Coach Minch talks about a lot, having a player-driven team, not a coach-driven team. If the players are, relying on the coaches to do this and do that, we're going to struggle. But just to be there for everyone and just be the best leader and the best person I can be.
Culture was talked about a lot, and that culture you had last year was so special. What have you seen so far on this new team about what that culture looks like and how you think it's going to develop?
It's a really good question. I think necessarily it was kind of hard in the beginning to try and know like where the pieces were going to come from. Obviously, having a lot of the same guys that I came up with, my first 3 years, being the young guy and, not typically understanding how a college baseball season works and, what it really takes to win games. But just, believing in Minch, believing in the coaching staff, believing in each other has done a really good opportunity. Like I could kind of Coach Minch said in the beginning, first scrimmage, didn't have a lot of guys talking about, how great of teammates we were and everything. But, in the last, 2 or 3 months, we've really blossomed into, believing in each other, running around, having fun, talking a lot of crap to each other, just bouncing off each other and just, trying to become closer. This past Sunday, Evan Byers has set it up for the past 3 years. We actually did a pitcher and catcher dinner at Malone's on Sunday night. So that's the beginning of the year kickoff thing that, really just brings us together before the gauntlet of the season. So that's awesome.
What did you guys learn about yourselves in the 2 exhibitions in the fall and playing against yourselves here this spring?
Yeah, that's a really big thing. You spend the first 6 to 7 weeks, just really just going at each other. The pitchers and catchers definitely have a fair share of, talking a little bit of crap, talking some smack, but it was really nice, especially with the first one up at Wright State in Cincinnati, just, finally all get on the same side, fight for the same mission, fight for Kentucky. So it was really cool to see everyone's spirit and emotion flying towards the same direction and not at each other per se, but it was awesome to get to do that, and then just super excited for February 14th to get this thing started.
What did it mean to hear that text message, to know the kind of pressure that you put on teams, every day?
Yeah, that was really cool. Coach Minch shared that with us the other day at practice, and honestly, honestly, it doesn't really surprise me. You know, sometimes even watching our games back on YouTube or just, you know, even video review, it's kind of mesmerizing the stuff that our hitters do to the defense. I'm glad that I'm not on the opposing side of it. Sometimes, you know, you do get to see it in scrimmages and stuff. So honestly, I think it just prepares us even more. Coach Riddell does a really good job of, you know, working on bunt coverages and just, you know, pitchers. Coach Mins always says, you know, if the pitcher's making a play, it's a free out. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about the other defense. So fielding your position is obviously super important. Something that we focus on a lot. But getting to hear that from another SEC player is definitely cool.
I've worked on some pitches and everything, just a little bit of a repertoire thing, but really it's just kind of the same deal. Kind of do what I do best, you know, stick with the bread and butter kind of deal, but nothing too crazy really.
Thank you. James, sorry if you asked this already. We're going to rotate a bunch
Yeah.
of the same questions, but just how excited are you kind of looking back on what you guys accomplished and now coming into the season with new expectations?
Yeah, it's really cool to see because, you know, being here for the 4th year, you kind of see everything evolve with not only the people, but like just like the system and everything and how like the buntings come about, how all the stealing and all that stuff's come about. So it's really cool to see all that and how the new guys have grasped onto that. You know, I kind of mentioned it earlier, or I think, both y'all kind of, but, you know, the new guys just kind of had to get their feet wet at first, and then, like, they realized, like, oh, like, that's Kentucky baseball, and then, like, they start doing it, and then it's just, like, second nature for them now.
I asked Midge about the unpredictability of offense with this team.
Yeah.
Because you really, it's almost like you shake up a bag, roll the dice, and go, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
How tough is that on other people that when you play, you're like, man, who are you? Because we don't know who you are.
Yeah, you know, Coach Minge always talks about how other coaches on other teams are like, you know, we don't know what to expect when Kentucky comes in, you know. It might be our 4-hole guy, bases loaded, no outs, like, you know, typically let it rip, you know, let him swing for fences or whatever, but then you look up and, you know, you got someone bunting, you know, you got someone stealing, but it's really fun to see because not only like returning guys but new guys, like they like I said before, they kind of grasp like into the stealing, the bunting and everything, and it's just like unpredictable because you don't know what's going to happen, you know. If we show a bunt or something, you know, then the defense got to think about the bunt, and then that creates a gap, you know, somewhere else where, you know, later in the count, later in the at-bat, or even later in the game, you know, they might dump it into that hole, and it's, you know, a big turning point in the game.
So what's that like to hear that text message where, you know, you hear that you're putting that kind of pressure on the other teams?
Oh, it's cool. I kind of came from like a travel team that kind of did that, so it's a little natural for me, I guess, and I guess you could say like being kind of like Braves fan and like watching them, that's kind of how they play too. They're not like the Yankees where they're, you know, hitting 50 bombs, 1 through 8, 1 through 9. But yeah, it's really cool to see.
Biggest area of emphasis that this team needs to get good at right now, pitching or offense?
I think we've done good on identifying what we need to work on and attacking that. You know, you could say one day it might be pitching, one day it might be offense, but it's like we come back the next day, we know like what we needed to work on the day before, and it's like a non-issue. So I think whatever like we do need to work on, it's like we know it and we know how to attack that and, you know, fix that.
Among those 29,
Yourself after somebody like a Michael Lawrence who does the same thing you do. Are you ever even talked to those guys and thought of trying to get hold of them?
No, not really. I've kind of just focused on, you know, like what I do. We'll like do comparisons on like pitching delivery and, you know, hitting and everything, but I've never really thought to reach out to those guys. Just kind of like do my thing. You know, everyone's different. Baseball's different. You know, every single year is different. So, yeah.
among those 29 new faces, just what have you heard some of like how much fun they saw this team have in the dugout that carried over to the fans in the stadium and all that?
I think about every single new guys asked me about something in the dugout, especially those first couple of weeks. We're like, the pink hat, dancing or whatever they're doing or whatever inning, it's hard to keep track. But they see how fun it is, and they want to be a part of that. So that's really cool to see because baseball is fun, but it's only as fun as whatever you make it. And last year we did a really good job with making it really fun. Even we weren't really playing baseball. We were just 40 guys hanging out in the dugout. And then there's a baseball game going on. So.
The two parts that I'm working on are probably just my presence and the belief that I can play at this level. So.
Yeah, those injuries had to be a big challenge for you. If you're looking for silver linings and clouds, how has that helped you kind of develop over the course of these past few years?
I actually just answered this pretty similar question. When I first got hurt, it was pretty depressing, or I was pretty selfish in terms of like the world's end type deal. But after looking back on it, it's one thing I try to tell myself since my 6 or 7 years, whatever it's been. If the worst thing that happens to me in my life is a baseball injury, then I've had a pretty good life. So in terms of silver linings, I get to play baseball at the University of Kentucky. So I'd do all 6 again if it meant I got 1 year here. So.
Speaking of baseball at the University of Kentucky, Big Blue Nation, I'm sure you've heard about the fan support. What is the message that you want to give to them in order to generate excitement for this particular year?
I mean, in terms of closeness with the guys, it's going to be a fun team to watch on and off the field. I know there was a lot of antics in the dugout last year. Obviously, I can't speak for that because I wasn't here for that. But the closeness we have already is pretty incredible. I just said this again. I can't believe that I didn't know these guys 6 months ago. And the coaches are the same way. Like, everybody's so close. And it's the same way with the community. The players and coaches talk about the community the same way they talk about us. So it's a close family and a close community in general.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you.
And, Kentucky's had a lot of big-time transfer pitchers lately. Can you see yourself becoming that in the starting rotation?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do my role. Obviously, I can see myself there, and I have a lot of belief and confidence in myself. But there's also 28 other pitchers in the staff that can do the same thing. So, just trying to help the team win in any way that I can.
How many pitchers are on the staff at South Dakota?
I think we had at the beginning of the fall probably around the high teens, low 20s, something like that. So pretty similar numbers, but a lot of times there was a lot of injuries, and they kind of just like it weeded itself out by the time the season started.
So what's the biggest difference just if you were telling me about South Dakota baseball based on Kentucky baseball?
There definitely wasn't this many cameras, I'll tell you that. But honestly, it's still baseball. So the sport's obviously more intense at this level. Probably just as how many people are in the mix with everything. Like we have 2 strength coaches, 3 strength coaches in the weight room at all times. We have 3 trainers. We have just a lot more people that are involved in the day-to-day. And I think the biggest difference would be just how many eyes are on you at all times. So,
thank you.
Just pitching in the SEC now, how excited are you for these big-time matchups? I mean, you'll have big programs such as Oklahoma, Texas, those 2 new teams, and then others coming here and then going on the road. How excited are you for those opportunities when they come up?
So excited. I can't wait until we're on the mound and I see jerseys that say Georgia or Tennessee, and I get to beat those guys today. So that's what I'm excited for.
Just talk to James and for the other returning guys. They want to get back to Omaha, right? Get there a second time. You guys want to get there the first time, right? You want to experience what it's all about. So they have that hunger to get back. Do you guys kind of come in with that hunger to get there for the first time?
100%. I grew up actually going to Rosenblatt when it was at Rosenblatt, and going to TD Ameritrade. That's only like 2-3 hours away from my hometown. So being a young kid, you really want to be there. And then being at South Dakota State, it's kind of, it sounds bad to say, but you don't compete for that at South Dakota State, just naturally how things work out. Being here and hearing them talk about it, it's pretty cool to be able to be a part of something that's the goal, is to be national champions.
James said he would watch the games in high school, like just watch them on his phone. Did you grow up kind of watching that and kind of dreaming of that, and now feel like, okay, maybe it's possible now?
100%. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, it's kind of gives me goosebumps just talking about it. But my goal is just to help these guys get back there, and selfishly, I want to get back there for the guys in the dugout, on the field, and the coaches in general.
Did you watch them in Omaha? Did you watch Kentucky's games?
Every game.
What were your takeaways?
I mean, obviously the closeness with that team was incredible. I felt like, and one of the guys, Cole Hitch, said this in one of our earlier meetings, he wants to get back to having no sorts of envy or jealousy when you see your own teammates on the mound. Like, you're pulling for them as much as you're pulling for yourself. And I truly think this team is doing that already, and it's not even the first game yet. So that's what I'm excited for.
Was there a moment back in the fall where you could kind of sense that the team building had come together or brought you guys close? Because there's so many new faces.
Yeah.
It's so few guys returning by comparison.
Yeah. Coach Benj mentions that in the practice we talk about who's a good teammate today and why. That's a small, we talk way more about that now than we did at first, so that's a small piece. But I think just like, again, in scrimmages, we're watching young guys at 19-year-olds, the best 19-year-olds I've ever seen play baseball, hitting, pitching, and the older guys at the dugout are chirping each other from dugout to dugout because we want that guy to win. And it's just like the competitiveness is insane, and I think just the team environment is going to be the same way. So.